Hello second 3, how are you? Today we'll solve exam in this year 2023 session 1 for algebra and geometric. Question number 1. If two planes r dot 1 to negative m equal 5 and second plane here mx plus 6y subtract 9z equal 1 are parallel, then m equal space. We know two planes are parallel here such that this plane and this plane, and in here vector n perpendicular to plane 1 and plane 2. Here we have here n2, n1 here will be parallel to by vector n2. Then we can write the coefficient here about x and y and z. It's about n2, vector n2 equal what here, m and 6 and negative 9, m coefficient of x and 6 coefficient of y and negative 9 coefficient of z. And what about vector n1 which perpendicular to plane 1? It will be 1 and 2 and negative m, 1 and 2 and negative m. Here write this image about the vector r dot vector n equal 5. It's meaning n dot any point, because we can write the equation of the plane r dot n equal n dot any point such that e. Then the vector n here in the first equation about the first plane will be 1 and 2 and negative m. Then we can write m over 1 equal 6 over 2 equal negative 9 over m, because we have two vectors parallel, n1 parallel to n2. Then you can write the ratio between 1 and m will be equal 2 over 6 equal negative m over negative 9. Okay, then you can write m here will be equal 1 times 6 equals 6 over 2. The result will be equal 3. Okay, and you can write the result here by m times m and negative 9 times 1. Negative times negative equal positive. Then m power 2 equal 9, then m equal 3, because they are parallel. Choose letter D about this example. Question number 2. If A represents the coefficient matrix for the system of equations 3x plus y plus z equal 5, x plus y plus z equal 0, 4x plus 2y plus 2z equal 7, then the rank of matrix A equal space. He asked about the rank of matrix A. You must determine about, we can determine 3 by 3 about the matrix A, and we can find the result. If this determined equal 0, then the rank will be equal what? It would be equal 2. The rank of matrix will be equal to, of determined equal 0, because we can choose here 3 and 3 if this determined not equal 0. So you can find the determined here about this matrix. Write 3 multiplication by 1 times 2 subtract by 2, it will be 0. Subtract by 1, cancel row and vertical here. 1 times 2 subtract by 4, it will be negative 2. And write 3 here, write 1 here, cancel row and vertical. 1 times 2 equal 2, subtract by 4 equal negative 2. Then the result will be here 0 and 2 subtract by 2 equals 0. Then determined about matrix A will be equal 0. Check determined 2 by 2. In the next step we must check determined 2 by 2 here. Choose 3 and 1 and 1 and 1, and we can find the matrix about it. 3 and 1 and 1 and 1. It will be not equal 0. Will be 3 minus 1 equal 2 not equal 0. Then the rank of matrix A will be equal 2. Okay, because determined about 2 times 2 equal a number not equal 0. So in this example we must check. Determine 3 by 3. Determine 3 by 3 it will be equal 0. Then you must check determined 2 by 2 here. The result not equal 0, then the rank will be equal 2. Okay, choose letter C about this example. Question 3. Determine about matrix 3 and 0 and 0, 0 x 0, 0 0 x equal determined about 4a 4 0 negative 3 p 4 a 0, where and b belong to r star. The next equal space. We can solve this matrix here. The absolute value determined here 3 0 and 0, and here 0 and 0 and 0 and x and x. We can find the result here, multiplication about 3 times x, it will be 3x power 2. Okay, 3x power 2 is the result about the first determined here. Second determined here 4 e 4 0 and negative 3 and b and 4 e 0. We can solve this example. We have here 3x power 2, and here we can write 4 and write cancel row and vertical. Negative 3 times 0 subtract ep, it will be negative ep, subtract by a, cancel row and vertical. 0 times 0 subtract by 4p, and choose here the last one vertical here. 4 cancel row and vertical. 0 subtract negative 3 times 4 equal negative 12 times and negative will be positive 12. It will be 3x power 2 equal negative 4 ep, and here positive 4 ep, and here it will be 48. We can cancel them, and 3x power 2 equal 48. We can divide it by 3 to symbolize the result. Here it will be what? X power 2, it will be 16. Then x will be positive or negative square root about 16, it will be 4. X will be, when a and b belong to r stars, then x equal 4. X will be equal 4 because he tell us a and b are here belong to r star. Question 4. Expansion. In the expansion of x power 2 plus 1 over x or power 13 according to descending power of x. The sum of coefficient of the two middle terms equal space. Okay, we have here x power 2, this expansion, x power 2 plus 1 over x all power 13. The number of terms will be 13 plus 1 equal 14. We have 14 terms about this expansion. He tell me the sum of coefficient of two middle terms equal what? We know 14 terms. 14 terms, it's even, so we can find the middle between them. 14 divided by 2, it will be 7. 7 and 8. Terms 7 and 7, 8 is the middle. Then the order of the two middle terms, it will be right n plus 1 over 2 and n plus 3 over 2, or you can divide it by 2. This number 14, it will be 7, and the next term here will be 8. The term 7 and term 8 are the middle terms. We have two terms here. We want to find the sum of coefficient of two terms here, middle terms. We can find term 7 here by the rule. It will be power here 13 combination by 6. Right, second here 1 over x power the base here 6 multiplication by the first here x power 2 power the difference between 13 and 6. 13 minus 6 equals 7. Then you can sample is the term 7 here, it will be 13 combination 6, and here x power, it will be right x here and power negative 6, and here 2 times 7 equal 14. You can sample list it. 14 minus 6 equal 8. It will be x power 8 is the term 7. Then coefficient will be, then we can write the coefficient about term 7, root right x equal 1 here, then the coefficient will be 13 combination 6. It's coefficient about term 7. And then you can write term 8 right here, term 8 right this power here, 13 combination by 7 multiplication second here power 7, it will be x power negative 1 times here, negative 1 times 7 multiplication by the first here, x power 2, subtract between 13 and 7 equals 6. Then term 8 would be 13 combination 7 x power negative 7 multiplication by x power 12. You can sample it. Term 8 it will be 13 combination 7 x power 12 minus 7 equal 5. Then the coefficient will be what? It will be 13 combination 7. Then you want to find in this example the sum of coefficient about term 7 and coefficient about term 8. We can add them by the rule here, 13 combination 7 and 13 combination 6. Right, 13 combination 7 plus 13 combination by 6. We must choose the greatest here, order 7, and add 1 to this number. It will be 14 combination by 7. The result will be 14 combination 7. Okay, because you want to find the sum of two terms, two middle terms here. We find here the two terms in the middle, 14 number or terms here divided by 2 equals 7, and add 1 it will be 8. Then term 7 and term 8 is the middle. We have two middle terms, term 7 and term 8. You want to find what the sum of coefficient of two middle terms here about this. First we can find term 7 and term 8 in the simplest form and put x equal 1 here and 1 and add them, and then you can write the rule here, 13 competition 7 plus 13 competition 6, it will be 14 competition 7. We must choose the greatest of them here and add 1 to this number in the top and write the number in the down here. Then the result will be 13 combination 6 will be 13 combination 6 plus 13 combination 6, 7 and 6. Choose the greatest here and add 1 will be 14 combination 7, and the result will be letter C. Question 5. If the construct of the complex number z is z bar equal negative 1 plus root 3i, then trigonometric form for the complex number z equal space is space. Okay, here give us z bar here equal a negative 1 plus root 3i. We can find r square root about negative 1 power 2 equal 1 plus root 3 power 2 equal 3, 1 plus 3 equal 4, square root about 4 equal 2. Again, negative 1 power 2 plus root 3 power 2. We have r here, and we know tan theta equal y over x. Root 3 over 1 will be root 3. The sign here negative and positive. Negative about x and positive about y lies in the second term. Second terms in theta will be 180 subtract by angle here. We know tan 60 equal root 3. Then the angle here 180 subtract by 60 equal 120 degree. Then z here it will be negative 1 negative root 3 I. If we draw the relation between first and second and third and fourth quadrant here, if we have here z, it will be what? It will be negative z, and here it will be z bar. Z bar. Then the angle about z bar here conjunct, it will be 120 degree. If this angle theta, then this angle will be negative theta. Then theta about z we want the angle about z, it will be what? It will be negative 120. It will be negative 2 pi over 3. Okay, and r will be equal r here about z1 equal r of z bar. Understood? Then you can write in trigonometric form about z here, write r outside here, r equal what? R equal to cosine this angle negative 2 pi over 3 plus I multiplication by sine negative 2 pi over 3. Okay, choose letter B. The result will be letter B about this example. Okay, understood? Again, I will explain this point here. Look at here. If we have here z, it will be what? Z bar. We have here z bar. This angle about this bar equal negative or positive equal 120. This angle about z bar theta, and then angle about z the inverse about it. Then this angle about z bar it will be 120. Then the angle about z it will be negative 120. And the length here about the side about z equal what? Equal 2. R equal 2. Don't change the r, but the angle we must change the angle here. It will be what? It will be negative 120. It will be negative 2 pi over 3. Then we must choose letter B about this example. Question 6. If term 7 is expansion of m over x power 2 subtract x power 2 over m or power 3n in parentheses according to ascending power of x, is the term free of x while x greater than m greater than 0, then term 7 equal space. He gives us this information. We have free term of x. Okay, then you can find term 7 about this example. Term 7 here we can write the power here 3n. Look at here, left hand side 3n combination by 6 multiplication by second negative x power 2 over m power 6 here multiplication by the first m over x power 2, the difference between 3n and 6, right? 3n minus 6. Okay, you can simplest this term in the simplest form to find the term free of x. Okay, we can simplest it here, right? 3n combination 6 negative, it will be positive, and here x power 2 times 6 equal 12 multiplication by m power negative 6 multiplication by m power 3n minus 6 multiplication by x power negative 2 times negative, it will be what? Positive, and here negative. Okay, it will be negative 2 times 3 and negative 6 and positive 12, because I write this number in denominator, write it in numerator, change the sign of the power. Then we can write 3 and combination, we can write here in the simplest form. Okay, 3n combination 6 x power 12 here, and we have x power negative 6n plus 12. We can add them because we have the same base here, right? X power what? Negative 6n plus 12 equal 24 multiplication by m power negative 6 and negative 6, it will be negative 12 plus 3x or 3n, it's n. Okay, 3n. We know we haven't in this example any term of x, so this power must be equal 0. This power will be equal 0 of n if n equal 4. Then negative 6n plus 24 will be equal 0, then n will be equal 4. Excellent. N equal 4, put n equal 4 here to find term 7. Okay, and you can cancel x. Okay, we can cancel this to find term 7 in simplest form. 3 times n 3 times 4 equal 12 combination by 6. Write m here power negative 12 plus 3 times 4 equal 12. 12 plus negative 12 equals 0. m power 0 equal 1. Then term 7 will be 12 combination by 6 only. in the simplest form. 12 combination 6 in simple form, we can write it 924. It's the result about this example. 924. Step 7. Question 7. ABCD is parallelogram where A and B and C. We have 3 points here. In the vector from the equation of straight line CD is space. You want to find the equation of straight line CD is space. We can solve this example by properties about parallelogram. We know any two sides are parallel in parallelogram. Any two opposite sides are parallel. Any two opposite sides are parallel and equal in lengths. Okay, we have here A and B and C and D. We know AD parallel to BC. Okay, we want to find the vector about CD. Okay, and BA parallel it. We know AP was parallel to DC. Then the slope about AP equals the slope about DC. To find the equation of straight line, we must find the point and the vector making in the same direction. Okay, the direction of vectors of straight line equal what? We can write this equation. D equal this vector D. It will be AB vector AB equal vector DC, because we want to find the vector about DC. It will be AB, it's meaning vector B subtract vector A. Vector B here 0 and 5 and 3 subtract vector A 2 and 3 and negative 1. Okay, we can find the vector here AB equal vector DC. To find the straight line about this equation CD. Okay, we can subtract them. 0 minus 2 equal negative 2 and 5 minus 3 equal 2. 3 minus 1 equal 4. Okay, this is a vector about the straight line. This is the equation of straight line CD equal what? We have the point, it's passing through the point what? Point C, because D we don't know the vector about the D here, but he gives us the vector C. So you can write R, the vector R, the equation about straight line passing through the straight line CD equal B. So choose the point here. It's the point reverse to point C. Okay, it's reverse to point C. This point about point C. Okay, plus constant multiplication by the vector D. Then R will be equal point C here. It will be negative 2 and 2 point C, where point C, look at here with me, point C negative 2 and negative 3 and 1. Okay, right, negative 2 and negative 3 and 1 plus constant here T multiplication by the vector D. Vector D equal negative 2 and 2 and 4. We can write here, choose number 1. By write negative 2 coefficient between them to assemble this example, negative 2 and negative 3 and 1 plus T multiplication by negative 2 divided by negative 2 equal 1, 2 divided by negative 2 equal 1, 4 divided by negative 2 equal negative 2. Then the result will be what? Will be letter H. Was letter A, negative 2 and negative 3, 1. It is a point about the point C, and the vector here 1 and negative 1 and negative 2. Choose letter A about this example. In the vectors A and B and C, we have the vector A and B and C represent 3 adjacent edges. Represent 3 adjacent edges in the parallel point whose volume 40 cubic centimeters, then M times K times N. Okay, he gives us the volume here equal 40 cubic centimeter. Okay, we know the volume about parabolic equal what? Equal A dot B cross vector C. Okay, then we can find the volume here by mind here vector A here, look at with me, M and 3 and negative 2, and vector B equal 0. Here we have K and K of J. We haven't I here, must write 0, and coefficient of J K, and coefficient of K it will be 5, and c equal n times k. N here coefficient of k, right, n and 0 and 0. We have heterogeometric from this will be what the result about diagonals here m k n. The volume, it will be m times k times n. Okay, it will be what? It will be equal 40 cubic centimeter. Then you must choose letter B about question 8. Question 9. If n plus 2 permutation x equal n power 3 subtract for n multiplication n power 2 minus 1, then x may be equal what? Okay, we can simplify it. We have n plus 2 permutation x equal n power 3 subtract by 4n multiplication by n power 2 minus 1. We can write here factorial about n plus 2 and factorial about the difference between them, n plus 2 minus x. The difference between n plus 2 minus x, and here we can write n coefficient between them to be n power 2 minus 4, and here n minus 1 multiplication by n plus 1. And here we can factorize this expansion here n and n minus 1 and n minus 2, sorry, n minus 2 and n plus 2, and here n minus 1 and here n plus 1. And you can replace this expansion here, write n plus 2 is the greatest, write the same order, n plus 2 and n plus 1 and n minus 1, n minus 2, and we have here n plus 2 permutation about x, n plus 2 permutation about x equal what? We have the greatest number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So meaning n plus 2 permutation of 5, then x equal 5. About this example. Question 10. If theta is the measure of angle between two planes r dot 2 and negative 2 and 4 equal 5, and second plane here to x plus y subtract 2z equal 3, then sin theta equal space. We can find vector n1, meaning what? n1 perpendicular to the first plane, and we have here n2 the vector perpendicular to n2 plane 2 here. Then we can find n1 here about this image here. It will be n2 and negative 2 and 4, 2 and negative 2 and 4, and we have n2 here about the second plane here, coefficient of x it will be 2, and the coefficient of y equal 1, and the coefficient of z equal negative 2. And we know cosine theta between n1 and 2, they are not parallel. We have two plane here, it will be n1, and we have here n2. We want to find the angle between n1 and n2. This angle we can write cosine theta, it's meaning 1 n1 dot n2 over absolute value about vector n1 dot vector n2 absolute value about n2 cosine theta. To find sine theta we must find cosine theta in the first step, and second step we can find sine theta by drawing the right angle triangle and write sine theta equal opposite over hypotenuse. We can write 2 times 2 equal 4, negative 2 times 1 equal negative 2, 4 times negative 2 equal negative 8. Here square root about first 4 plus 4 plus 16, it will be what? 4 plus 4 equal 8, and 16 here square root of 4 plus 1 plus 4 equal 9. You can write here 4 minus 2, 2 minus 8 equal negative 6, absolute value about negative 6 equal 6, and here 8 plus 6 equal 24, and you can write square root about 9 equal 3, square root about this number 8 plus 16 equal 24, 6 divided by 3 equal 2 over square root of 24. We can simplify it here, square root about 24 equal what? Equal 2 root 6. When draw here we can cancel 2 by 2, then the result will be 1 over root 6. It will be cosine theta, but in this example he won't find sine theta, so you must draw right angle triangle here, and we know cosine theta equal adjacent over hypotenuse adjacent to 1 and hypotenuse equal root 6. You can find the opposite here by root 6 power 2 subtract by 1 power 2. Root 6 power 2 equals 6 minus 1 equal 5. Then the result will be root 5. Then you can write sine theta equal opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite here equal root 5 over root 6. Root 5 over root 6, you can write it in the simplest form by right multiplication. Root 6 numerator and numerator. Root 6 times root 5, it will be root 30 here, and root 6 times root 6 equals 6. Then the result will be letter C. Because sine theta equal root 5 over root 6, you can write multiplication root 6 numerator and numerator to write the numerator in the simplest form. Then the result will be letter C about this example. Question 11. The opposite figure represents the two complex numbers Z1 and Z2 in the Argand diagram. We want to find Z2 over Z1. Okay, look at with me about Argand diagram. We have here Z1 and this side length perpendicular about it, and we have two side equality here. We have isosceles triangle. This angle equals this angle, and this angle will be 45. Okay, and this length equals this length. It will be Z1 and here equals Z2. And if you want to find Z2 over Z1, you can divide the length here by the length. This length was 4 centimeters. This length 4 centimeters. We can find this length by right angle triangle. Look at here. This angle 45 and this angle 45, length 4 and 4, it will be 2 root 2. This side will be 2 root 2. Okay, it's right here. This side here 4 and 4 and the 4 root 2. Okay, 4 and 4 and 4 root 2. And the angle here, we can write it here, what? Write it theta, and this angle 45. Okay, if we want to divide them, you must divide length about Z2. Length about Z2 here equal 4 root 2. You can write here 4 root 2 over the length here about Z1 equal 4. Because we have isosceles triangle, this 4 side length and this length is 4. 4 root 2 over 4, and we can write E here multiplication by E power what? The difference between this angle and this angle. We know theta about Z1, it will be theta, and theta 2 equal 45 plus theta. This angle equal 45 plus theta. Understood? Theta here and 45. Understood? Look at here. This angle 45 and this angle theta. The angle about Z1, it's Z1. Angle here theta. And the angle about Z2, it's all this angle to the original side length here. Theta plus 45. If we divided them here, we must subtract theta 2 subtract by theta 1. Then 45 plus theta subtract by theta, it will be 45. We can write here 45. 45, it's meaning pi over 4. Multiplication by I. Okay, again we have here right angle triangle. This side length 4 centimeter and 4 centimeter to be 4 root 2. Okay, 4 root 2. And the angle here, we called it 45 plus theta. The angle about Z2, it will be 45 plus theta. And the angle about Z1 here equals theta. If we want to find the division between Z2 and Z1, we must divide the two lengths about Z2 and Z1 and subtract two angles. Z2 and Z1. The angles about Z2 equals theta plus 45, and the angle about theta1 equals theta. We can find the difference between them. 45 plus theta subtract by theta, it will be 45. 45 is meaning pi over 4. Then we can simplify it. It will be root 2 here, multiplication by E power 4 pi over 4 I. Okay, the result will be root 2 multiplication E power pi over 4 I. Choose letter C. Question 12. If a polygon with insides has 740 diagonals, then end combination 3 equal space. We know the number of diagonals equal what? The number of diagonals equal, we can write in combination by 2 subtract by n. He gives the number of diagonals equal 7 742. It will be equal n combination 2 subtract by n. You can use calculator to find n. N, it will be what? Use a calculator to find n. N, it will be what? It will be 40. To find n, then n by using calculator, n will be 40, because 40 combination 2 subtract by 40 equal 740. Or you can simplify it by using rule here. We can write rule here 740 without using calculator to can find the result. Combination here we can write factorial n over factorial the difference between them, n minus 2, multiplication factorial about 2 subtract by n. And you can simplify it, write n outside here, write 740 equal n multiplication by n minus 1, multiplication factorial n minus 2 over factorial n minus 2 over factorial 2. We can cancel factorial by factorial, and here the result will be 740 equal factorial 2, it will be 2, and n times n1 subtract by n. Multiplication by 2 to simplify it, 2 here and here to simplify this example, or you can find the simplest form by divided here, n power 2 subtract by 2 divided by 2, and multiplication by 2 to simplify it. We need factorial 2 equal 2. Okay, you can simplify it here, multiplication by 2 all terms here, 2 times 740, it will be 1480 by multiplication by 2 all term here equal n times n, it will be n power 2 subtract by n subtract by 2 and multiplication by 2, then n power 2 subtract 3 and it will be negative 1480 equal 0. You can use a calculator by using the equation about your calculator, then n will be equal 40. Then you can write n combination by 3, but n equal 40. 40 combination by 3 by using calculator, it will be 9,980. 9,880, sorry, letter E, 9,880. Choose letter E. Question 13 is of the figure represents vector B here, where vector A equal 3 and 4 and 12, then the absolute value about vector EB equal what? We know EB, vector EB equal vector B subtract vector E. Vector B equal what? We can find vector B. Vector B lies in the plane xy, then z equals 0. Okay, 0, and here moving 6 about x, and y moving 8 lanes. Subtract by vector A give us vector A 3 and 4 and 12. 6 minus 3 equal 3. 8 minus 4 equal 4. 0 minus 12 equal minus 12. It's vector AB. Then the absolute value about vector AB, it will be square root about 3 power 2 equal 9, 4 power 2 equal 16, 12 power 2 equal 144. You can use calculator to find the result here. 3 power 2 plus 4 power 2 plus 12 power 2 equal 25 plus 144 equal 196 or 69, 169. Square root equals 13. The result will be length unit, 13 length unit. Okay, choose letter B about question 13. Question 14, if z equal 4 times sine by over 6, I subtract I cosine by over 6, so I power 2 equal -1, then one of the two square roots of the complex number z is space. Okay, first we must change this image about complex number. 4 multiplication by sine by over 6 subtract I cosine by over 6. We know here sine and cosine, we must change sine will be cosine. Look at here about what? It's first quadrant and second quadrant and third and fourth. Okay, in this quadrant about if we talk about change sine to be cosine, we must know first quadrant it will be 9 subtract by theta, and here 9 plus theta, and here it will be negative 9 subtracted by theta, and here negative 90 subtract, it will be positive theta. So negative, you look at the sign here, positive and negative. Positive and negative lies in the fourth quadrant here. Fourth quadrant here, we can write 4 here and sine. Look at pi over 6, it will be 30. Okay, then this angle negative 90 plus 30, right here negative 90 plus 30 plus I multiplication by sine will be what? Will be cosine, and cosine will be what? Will be sine, which to change cosine, sine will be cosine and cosine will be sine, and right here negative 90 plus 30. Then z will be equal, right, for here cosine negative 60 plus I multiplication by sine negative 60. Okay, you want to find the square root about z. Square root is meaning get the half of this angle. Then the square root about z here, it will be 2, and cosine half of this angle, it will be negative 30 plus I multiplication by negative 30. You can write square root about z here, it will be 2, cosine negative 30, it will be what? It will be root 3 over 2, and sine negative 30, sine, right, negative times positive, it will be negative I multiplication by sine 30 equal half. Multiplication by 2 to find the square root here about z, it will be root 3 subtract by I. In the first image here will be root 3 subtract by I. Choose letter C. It's the square root about z. It's very easy for you. Square root about z, square root about 4 equal 2, and this angle divided by 2. Then the result will be root 3 over 2 here. It's cosine negative 30, and I multiplication sine negative 30 equal negative half. Okay, the result will be root 3 subtract by I. Question 15. If 1 and omega power 2 are cubic roots of unit, then if unit, okay, then a over omega subtract a plus a omega power 7 or power 4 equal space. We can simplify it here, right? A over omega subtract e plus e omega power 7 whole power 4. We can write here omega power 3 because omega power 3 equal 1. Then the result will be a omega power 2 subtract by a plus a omega power 7 whole power 4. We know a and a, and then we can write a outside, coefficient between them, all power 4. Then the result will be omega power 2 subtract by here 1 plus omega 7. Omega power 7 we can simplify it because omega power 7 equal omega power 6 multiplication omega power 1. We know omega power 6 equal 1. Okay, we can simplify it. It will be omega power 4 omega power 2 subtract by 1 plus omega whole power 4. We know omega power 2 plus omega, it will be what? It will be negative 1. We can cancel them and write negative 1. Negative 1 plus negative 1 equal negative 2. Then a power 2 multiplication what? Here negative 1 and negative 1, it will be negative 2 all power 4. It will be a power 4 multiplication negative 2 power 4, it will be 16. Then the result will be 16 a power 4. The result will be 16 a power 4 about question 15. Question 16. If M is the midpoint of PC, where A and B and C, where A and B and C there are, then the equation of the sphere, we want to find the equation of sphere whose center M and path it through the point A. Okay, we have 3 points here, and the center of the circle, the midpoint M, lies between B and C here, B and C. M is the midpoint, then the equation of sphere is the center M. We want to find where point passing through the point A. Okay, it's the point A. We have line segment and the point M, the midpoint between B and C, and we have the radius about M to A, and M lies in the midpoint between B and C. We know A equal negative 2 and 0 and 3, B equal 1 and 0 and 6, C equal 5 and 4 and 2. First we can find M. M is the midpoint between B and C. We can write x plus x divided 2, 5 plus 1 equals 6 divided by 2 equal 3. And 4 plus 0 equal 4 divided by 2 equal 2, and 2 plus 6 equal 8 divided by 2 equal 4. Then we can find the radius here. It will be MA square root about, we have here M, and this point A. 3 minus 2 equal 5, power 2 equal 25. 2 minus 0 equal 2, power 2 equal 4. 4 minus 3 equal 1, power 2 equal 1. Then the result will be square root about what? 29 or 30. It will be 30. Okay, sorry, 30 here. So radius equals 30. Okay, we have this the radius and the center. Then you can write the equation about the sphere. We can write here x subtract by the center here M, x minus 3 or power 2 plus y minus 2 or power 2 plus z minus 4 or power 2 equal r power 2. Radius here it will be 30. Okay, choose letter C about this example. It's very easy for you. Okay, question 17. The equation of the plane which contains a straight line. We have plane here. This plane contains a straight line here. The equation of a straight line x equal y equal half z. Its meaning x minus 0 over 1 equal y minus 0 equal 1. It will be equal z minus 0 over 2. Then this straight line passing through the point 3 and 3 and 3 lies in the straight line, and the vector here we called it d or r as you like. Will be vector d here about this straight line. It will be 1 and 1 and 2. Okay, and pass it through the point 1 and 2 and 3. He gave us this point 1 and 2 and 3. The plane passes through the point and the straight line. Okay, we want to find the equation of the plane which contains the straight line and the point. Okay, first we must find what? We must find the vector which perpendicular to the plane here. We called it n. We know vector n we can get by perpendicular what? The plane by multiplication cross about vector 1 and vector 2. We have vector 1, we called it d here, cross the vector 2, I will call it vector 2, it will be d2, lies between this point here, original point 0 and 0 and 0, and 1 and 2 and 3, and we have here d1 here 1, 2 and 3 here about the straight line. The equation about straight line here 1 and 1 and 2. It's what? The vector about straight line here 1 and 1 and 2, here in denominator 1 and 1 and 2, and we can find d2 here. It will be what? It will be 1 minus 0 equal 1, subtract between 2 points here because it lies between 2 point 1 and 2 and 3 and 0 and 0 and 0, 0 and 0 and 0. Its point lies in the straight line here, x equal y equal half z. We can write 1 minus 1 0 equal 1, 2 minus 0 equal 2, 3 minus 0 equal 3. We can find cross between d1 and d2 to find vector n. Right here I and j and k, and write d1 and d2. d1 equal 1 and 2 and 3, and we can write here 1 and 1 and 2. Okay, 1 and 2, you can replace it as you like, d1 and d2, never mind here about this result. Okay, I'll write here d1 equal 1 and 1 and 2, and d2 here equal 1, 2 and 3. You can replace them as you like, it's never mind because the sign will be convert, and you can try negative outside coefficient between them to find the result. Okay, you can write 1 here, 1 here, vector n, it will be what? 2 minus 2 times 2, 4 minus 3 equal 1, and they cancel this sign. 3 minus 2, 1, negative 1 here, and cancel this number here, and write 2 minus 1 equal 1 times 1 equal negative 1. We can write here again, cancel 1 times 3 times 4 equal negative 1 here, negative 1, and here negative 1, and here 2 minus 1 equal 1. Okay, then the vector n, we can write the equation of the plane. Then the equation equation of plane equal what we know, r dot n equal r dot here n dot the point here p. The equation of what? The plane. This is the equation of the plane. Okay, r dot n equal n dot p, r x and y and z, and or you can write r here dot n -1 and -1 and 1, n dot p, b is the point here 0 and 0 and 0. Okay, it's point p. Cross n, it will be 0. Then the result will be r dot -1 and -1 and 1 equals 0. You can divide it by -1 here to write in the simplest form. It will be vector r dot 1 and 1 and the -1. It will be equal 0. It's the equation here. It will be letter D about this example. Question 18. If term 15 is the middle term in the expansion ax, a multiplication by root x, subtract 1 over a root x all power n plus 2. He tells us the middle term here is what? Term 15 is the middle. We have here n plus 2. Term 15 in the middle, it's meaning we have 14 terms in the right and 14 terms in the left. Then we have how many term here? 1 and 14. 14 number of terms equal 14 plus 1 plus 14 equal 29. Then the number of terms in here reverse to number of terms. Okay, number of terms. Don't panic about n plus 2. Okay, see, n reverse to number of terms. Number of terms equal n plus 2 plus 1. N plus 2 plus 1. It's the number of terms of this expansion. Okay, it will be equal 29. Then n will be what? 2 plus 1, 3. 29 subtract by 3, it will be 26. Then n here equal 26. We get n equal 26. You want to find the coefficient of term 16. Okay, we can write term 16 about this example. Put n equal 26. 26 plus 2 equal 28. Then the expansion here, we want to find term what? Term 16. Look at here. Term 16, it's meaning 28. Right, 28 combination by 15. Multiplication by what? By the second here, -1 over a root x. Second here, power 15. The first here, a root x, power what? But the difference between 28 and 15, subtract between them, it will be 30. Okay, you want to find the coefficient of term 16. Coefficient of term 16, it's meaning put x equal 1 in the example. Put x equal 1 here and here. We can write 28 combination 15, and here negative is about the sign. Look at here, he give us a equal half. When you finish, you must put a equal half. Okay, complete with me. Okay, it will be here 1 and it 1, -1 over 8 will be negative a power -1 times 8, it will be -15. Okay, because a lies in denominator. And here a power 13. You can simplest it here. You can write the simplest form here about coefficient of term 16. It will be 28 combination 15, negative outside here, write negative outside. Okay, you can write negative here outside, and a power -15 times a power 13, it will be a power -15 plus 13, it will be -2. Okay, you can write a equal half. A equal half. Okay, you can write a equal half here to simplify this example, or you can find the simplest form about coefficient here. Put a equal half here. Half, it's meaning 2 power -1. Then the coefficient will be equal -28 combination 15. Write a here, it will be a 2 here, multiplication by -1 times -2, it will be 2. Then the result will be -4, 28 combination by 15. You can simplify it to choose the result. Correct result here, 28 subtract by 15 equals 13. Okay, so then the result will be -4, 28 combination 13. You can simplify by subtract between 28 and 15. 28 subtracted by 15 equals 13. Okay, so the result will be letter A. Choose letter A by question 18. Question 19 is the matrix -4, 5, -2, -6, -3, -3, -7, -7 is cofactor matrix for cofactor matrix for the coefficient matrix A for the system of equation, and absolute value determined A power 2 equal determined about A adjacent when absolute value be less than 0. Find the solution about this equation. Okay, he give us this information, cofactor matrix for the coefficient matrix A for the system equation. Okay, you can write A adjacent. It's meaning what? A adjacent equal cofactor return. We can write cofactor here term. About this factor here, we can write the term. It will be what? It will be -4, -6, -7, 5, -3, -7, -2, -3, and 7. And we can find determined about A adjacent here. Determined here, it will be -4, -6, -7, -2. We can find the result in the simplest form about this determined. The result will be what? The result will be negative or positive. We can find here absolute value less than 0 here. Okay, we can find here about this information. He give us A power 2 equal absolute value about adjacent here by this factor. It will be 441. The result here by using calculator, or you're thinking the result will be 441. Then A power -1 here, we can find the inverse, but he give us this information here such that determined A power 2 equal absolute value about A adjacent here. We can find the square root here. Then determine divide it. Square root about 441. It will be positive or negative. We can choose negative because it tells us this information less than 0. It will be -21. Okay. Then determine about this factor equal -20. And then you can solve this system here by write the inverse about vector A. Okay, we can write the inverse here about this vector. Look at the steps here. You want to find solution about this matrix here, multiplication between them. Okay, we can find inverse about vector A equal 1 over delta A multiplication by coefficient determined. Cofactor determined. Okay, then A power -1 equal 1 over -21 multiplication by cofactor determined. We can write this matrix here by the inverse, -4 and 5 and -2, -4 and 5 and -2 and -6, -3 and -3, -7, -7 and 7. We can write in the simplest form. It will be what? Negative times negative equal positive. It will be 4 over 21 and 5 over, it will be -1 and 2 over 21 and 6 here, 6 over 21 and 3 over 21 and 3 over 21, 7 over 21, 7 over 21, 7 over 21. And then you can write here a multiplication x and y and z. Write this, write x and y and z in the first here, equal inverse about vector a multiplication by 9 and 15 and 12. It will be right here. Then x and y and z, it will be this vector here multiplication, this matrix here multiplication by 9 and 15 and 12. Okay, to confine the result, multiplication this row by this vertical and add them, you can get the solution set. 4 over 21 multiplication by 9 plus 15 times 6 over 21 plus 12 times 7 over 21 and add them. And here this row multiplication by this vertical and this row multiplication by vertical to find the solution set. It will be 10 and 4 and negative 5. Question 20. Find the length perpendicular from drawing the point. From the point B, we have the point B here. We want to find the perpendicular length. Draw the straight line r equal 5 and negative 1 and 5 plus t multiplication 2 and 2 and 1. We can find the length here by using the rule. We have here the length. We can call this point here, this point I will call it A. To find cross about AB, cross this vector here, this vector D here, over absolute value about vector D. In the length here will be AB cross vector D over absolute value about vector D. We can find here the result about I and J and K. Vector AB first. AB is meaning B subtract by A. We have the point here B equal 5 and negative 1 and 0, and point A equal 5 and negative 1 and 5. Okay, we can write here EB first. AB, it's meaning 0. Negative 1 minus minus 1 equals 0. And here 0 minus 5, it will be negative 5. EB equal B minus A. Okay, and vector D, 2 and 2 and 1, and square root about vector D, 4 plus 4 plus 1. You can find this result here. It will be, cancel it, it will be negative 10. Convert it, negative 10 in direction I, cancel, and write here 2 times negative 5, it will be negative 10. It will be positive 10 in direction I, and J 0 here, and negative times negative equal positive. J, it will be negative, cancel, row and vertical, 0, negative 10, and right, it will be negative 10 J, and K equal 0. Can write the square root here about 9, it will be 3, and here square root of 10 plus 10, it will be 10 and negative 10 and 0. Write square root about this vector. 100 plus 100 equal 200. 200 square root 200 over 3, it will be 10 root 2 over 3. 10 root 2 over 3. Okay, this is the last question here. Understood? To find this length, we must find vector AP here cross vector D over magnitude about vector D. We can find the cross here outside. Is the cross here between them. It will be negative 10 or 10 and negative 10 and 0, and then you can find the square root about first and second and third. It will be 200 square root or 200 over 3, then the result will be 10 2 over 3 length unit. Okay, thank you my students about this video. You must study hard to get 4 marks in the future. Okay, thank you, goodbye.